Alright, welcome to another edition of Google is Evil, formerly What the Fuck and such. And, hundreds of weeks of communication efforts to make the point that's really so simple that your life is really a mixture of good and bad. Now, maybe you've had a few events in your life where no matter what, you would never allow that to happen again. So if they were offered the opportunity to relive your life and it had to include, say, for example, your sister's death, just the way it happened, you'd say, yeah, in spite of how good I had it, I wouldn't force her to go through that again. So there's a logic this simple, that if you really did measure your life, not as what happened to me, but what happened to things I care about, that you would recognize that there were fates worse than death. There were fates worse than not writing the story. There were parts of the story that were bad enough that you just say, fuck writing the story. Now, I could argue the human race has pieces like that. The Holocaust, for example. 50 million people, at least some percentage of those millions really tortured. I mean, just absolutely tortured for perhaps months, years. And then you have like the bomb, the nuke, Hiroshima and Nagasaki. The hundreds of thousands of people dying of radiation sickness. Just the worst kind of torture. If you had to, if you had to decide to redo it, would you pay that price? And then we're not even talking about the plague and the cholera and all the horrible, awful deaths that people had to endure. That I think some of you anyway, some percentage of you would wince if you had to push the button that actually said, I'm going to make you do it all over again. The surgeries without anesthesia, all of these things that people had to go through, you would press that button and impose it again. Again. To do what? So you could watch this video and glibly say, but, some sort of bullshit, but, we have really cool pictures from the moon. We sent a probe and a helicopter on Mars, a helicopter. But. No, you don't have anything. You have nothing. You have nothing to put on the other side of the scale and say, oh, gee, it is so fucking worth it. No, you don't. God, you really don't. And you know it from your own life, too. Your own life hasn't been so fucking spectacular. It's a bunch of mediocrity. Even when you got what you wanted, it was broken or it's scratched or there was something wrong with it. So, come on, quit playing the game that there's anything that spectacular going on here to be worth torturing shit. Anyway, so that's the simple argument. I mean, it's not that complicated an argument, just lay off with this pro-life bullshit. Get over your whatever it is, the silly notion in your head that it's, oh yes, it's all been so profitable. We're so way ahead. No, you're way the fuck behind. Okay? You're way in debt. The debt of all those horrible deaths. All the Civil War, for fuck's sake. The insane amount of torture that took place. You'd impose it again? For what? So Jack and Jill can go up the hill and fetch a pail of water. La 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 la. For what? So Goldilocks can have some just right porridge and then have just right nap. La 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 la. It's all worth it. The Holocaust is worth it. Goldilocks had a nice nap. It's just fucking ridiculous. Alright, so anyway, I did make a video. Usual quality, I'd say. Anyway, I did comments, so the subjects are a little various, and blah, 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 blah. So let's just see what we get. Randomly hopping and such. The volume's probably okay. I probably should knock it down a little bit. so we don't get too much echo. Okay. Go. Start talking. Just did it because everybody else was doing it, and whoops. Yeah, so I was just pointing out that I did finally interrogate my parents. Why'd you have kids? Kind of pushed them, and finally they just conceded. Yes, it was a bad idea. Yes, I didn't like watching my daughter die. Yes, it was all ugly and horrible, and yes, we could have had a great life traveling the world, and instead we were slaves to you fucking morons. So yes, they conceded. It was all for nothing. No good thoughts went into the process. They didn't really consider the risk. They didn't really consider all the potential outcomes that are negative. They just went with the theme. This is what you do. You're an American. You have kids. Blah, 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 blah. All right. So, you know. Alright, the videos never play. Oh, whiny, complain. So obviously I'm playing the video right now. So obviously it plays on my computer fairly well. So no big deal. But you have these links right here. These links, they say something. They say, well, the high quality one doesn't work. Sorry. Okay, so I really should delete that one. The MP4 link works. Okay, so you can get a reasonably good quality video and you can just download it. You click on the link with the right button and there's this thing that says save as. Save link as. See, save as. That's what it says in the link, save as. Save link as. Alright, you can't see the menu. But it's on there. Okay, and you click that and you can download the fucking video onto your hard drive and then it'll play fine. Okay, I mean, I'm not spending thousands of dollars to get my own server and a gigantic cable so I can pump my website onto the internet, okay? It just ain't going to happen. So this is what you're stuck with until such a time where that becomes financially reasonable. And at this current time, it's not financially reasonable. But fuck you. I mean, it's not that big a deal. The audio link is a little tiny file, okay, well, I mean, tiny relatively speaking, I mean, whatever, 50 megabytes. You can download it in a couple of seconds, blah, 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 and then play it on any device you want to, anytime you want to. There's really not much happening visually, okay, a few hand gestures, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, these are not physics videos. I mean, I don't have to draw anything here. Whatever, I guess, complainers. Structure of the molecules, you know, the fact is, so abiogenesis came up, and you know, again, just because obviously this is a much more subtle crime. The crime happened in a kind of darkness, okay, complete darkness, so we don't have the advantage of footprints and fingerprints and all this other stuff, and it has to be solved in a much darker place. So we can't just put the geological evidence together. We can't put the fossil evidence together. It's a little more complicated because it's a tiny, tiny universe it took place in, and it's a tiny universe that really doesn't leave any tracks behind. This sand is always washed away by the ocean, so to speak. So there's no trail to follow to understand exactly what happened over millions of years of the process of a chemical going from one shape to a chemical going to another shape. But it's really not beyond our understanding that, yes, that process takes place. We can see lots of compounds evolve all the time. We can watch radioactive decay. We can see all kinds of actions taking place that are perfectly consistent with the chemistry required to create a replicating molecule. It's not phantasmagorical or beyond comprehension. We can imagine the scenario. It's easily imagined. I had to know to encapsulate all this. Yeah, the membrane was okay. Still on the sort of on the chemistry subject again. Because the God Bothers have to find some catch, but they're just so desperate. Again, there's no way, we're ever going to have a videotape of any of this stuff, so we're only going to be able to construct models, and they have models of it. I mean, they've already figured out that there are chemicals that actually do migrate across DNA molecules, that this actually does take place. Okay, so, the idea of reading and writing heads is perfectly rational. Now even proven in a sense that they have real evidence of it. Yes, they still have to simulate it. They can't take a videotape of it, but they have lots of reason to believe this is a solid model. Ones were tortured. It just matters how many. Alright, so this is a simple argument that we're stuck here being slaves. If you're really going to be intelligent, your intelligence is going to figure out that, guess what? The only thing of value happening in the universe is sentient beings having conscious experiences. And it really doesn't matter whether their name is Gary or Fred or Jim or whatever. It doesn't matter what their name is. The fact is the important fact is this is a brain. It has a sentient experience. It's going to experience these good and bad sensations. And that's all there is of value in this universe. There is nothing else that could possibly make any goddamn difference except for something having a feeling and having a bad feeling. And that has to be minimized. That's the payment. You have to minimize the payment because guess what? The thing you're buying really doesn't have any value. It doesn't have any intrinsic value. It doesn't fix anything that was broken in the universe. Consciousness does not fix something broken in the universe. It isn't a medicine that takes away the universe's pain. No, it brings the pain. Okay? It has no good value. There's nothing about it that has any use. It's totally bad news, not any good news. But anyway, you throw it in the garbage. You don't throw it in the garbage because, all right, so this got onto this whole, these idiots who think because we're robots and we don't control ourselves, we're controlled by things, previous events that took place to us, that somehow we don't have any culpability for our dysfunction. Of course, we're still dysfunctional. If there's a lunatic, if you could give rabies to a Coke machine and you had a rabid Coke machine running around, right? You'd still tell the cops to shoot it. You wouldn't sit there, it's not the Coke machine's fault. It has rabies, it's not its fault. Who cares this shit about whether it's goddamn fault or not? It's a menace. You shoot it. Okay, you get rid of it, you stop it, you prevent it. You do the rational thing and you get rid of the bad thing. Okay, we try to eradicate all kinds of diseases, right? COVID. Well, what are you going to defend the COVID doesn't know what it's doing? It's not its fault. Why are you trying to kill it? I mean, it would be retarded to have that conversation. So this has nothing to do with being punitive. It has nothing to do with making something responsible. It has nothing to do with the COVID admitting it's an asshole. No, I don't care whether the COVID admits it's an asshole. I don't give a shit. All right. The point is what do you have to do to mitigate against more damage? Oh, okay. How do I create a result that has less harm in it? Well, you do it by stopping the fucking rabid Coke machine. Especially when it only costs 10 cents to stop it. Then you spend the 10 cents and stop it. So I have no interest in a justice system that gives a shit about revenge or making the person admit they were poopy heads. I don't give a shit about any of that crap. The only value the justice system has is deterrence. And it clearly works. I have been substantially deterred in my life. Okay, I would be... if it was legal for me to go out and annihilate the evil, I would be annihilating evil. That's the sensible thing to do, right? Was there anything else? Is there some better job to have than going out and annihilating the rabid Coke machine, so to speak? The evil, stupid humans? The ones doing grotesque harm? The insanely expensive? Of course, there could be nothing wrong with doing that. That would be logical. I mean, that would be like... finding like people are starving and all you have to do is climb over a hill and there's a whole bunch of potatoes to eat. I mean, of course I'm going to do it. I have to say if it cost you one person's life to save 1 million people's lives, yeah, of course I'm going to do the logic and I'm going to say, yeah, the one person ain't worth 1 million. Okay, the 1 million people starving isn't worth whatever harm will come to the one jackass preventing the 1 million people from eating the potatoes. So yes, the money hoarders and all the rest of them would all be on my list. But they're not because I know it's illegal. Can't do it. The law works. I don't want to be punished. Okay, and as a practical matter, I can't do much more if I get punished. So unless I get them all in one, unless I can create a bait, that catches all the fish, I won't be able to fish the next day. So yeah, it's no point in doing it. But there's no denying the logic. We're here to fix problems. Because the law says you can't fix them or we'll put you in jail, well, not my fault. I didn't vote for that law. Oh, it's just so pathetic when you think about, all the bullshit, the little music when the president. Oh yes, all the trivialities, all the crap people are thinking about, and there's real torture going on all around them, and it's all this trivial shit that they worry about. Disgusting. For an infinite amount of time, and then decides one day, so I'm mocking the silly God idea, right? So God sat around forever to come up with the brilliant idea of, let's make sentient organisms that have an intense capacity to feel, and we'll have them torture each other by chasing each other down and eating each other alive. Chomp chomp. It'll be fun. For who, I don't know, but yeah. Make a bunch of feeling things that eat each other. Yeah, really stupid. Okay, anyway. Totally agree that you have to say in suffering and is fed up how to reach this significant point. Oh yeah, so this whole how to strategy. So everybody wants to give me strategy. I have my own strategy, okay, in the sense that I think the physics argument is in fact the argument that I'm going to win, okay, because it's an argument that can't be denied by rational people, okay, they just can't keep denying it. So once I'm allowed to debate them and show that their physics is wrong actually and all that kind of crap, I'm going to be insanely famous for that. And so that will give this a platform. But that's what you're required to do. You're required to be famous. You have to be a celebrity. That's the only way you have any power. Okay, is you have to acquire it for some dopey reason. And so, yes, I haven't come up with a great phrase, I mean, I don't know how some people get off the ground, like Jordan Peterson. I mean, his big claim to fame is he told somebody who wanted to be referred to as a squirrel, and he said, I'm not calling you Mr. Squirrely. And so that's his big thing is he refused to address a guy who wants to be called a squirrel, Mr. Squirrely. And then said people ought to clean their room. Before they try to tell other people how to clean their room, they ought to clean their own room. Well, maybe they don't care about their room being clean. They're just telling other people, hey, if you want some advice on how to do it, I can tell you how to do it. I don't see much point in doing it, but if you want to do it, I can explain how to do it. I don't go fishing, but I can explain how you catch fish. Anyway, it's all too stupid is the point. Why is this moron anybody? Okay, why did he become a somebody to listen to? Because he's really stupid, and he's not very interesting, and he's not terribly charming, and he's not anything. So you say, what the fuck is that about? So the way people get popular is kind of bizarre, and it usually involves networking. It usually involves somebody who is popular making you popular. Okay, so, and yeah, I don't network, so it's not likely that anybody's going to make me popular, unfortunately. Quite a while. Anyway, just just interesting. I've never been at the stage where I could actually, have a garden that actually. Oh, okay. So I was just pointing out how I have a garden. Well, it's all droughty here, so it's like the one place that the weather keeps missing. For the last 3 weeks, all the weather goes north or south, so it's been terribly, awfully, horribly dry. So it's it's kind of tough keeping the garden alive, but it's been it really is working in the sense that if you grow the right shit like beets, you can get a lot of food value out of a little piece of ground. And so I have for the whole summer, I'm basically just a bag of rice, and whatever vegetables I'm growing is actually feeding me, which I don't think I've ever been that productive. That's all. I mean, I don't think there was ever a point that I was actually able to live off a garden, but I'm living off of it. So, that's all. Just a little... I wish I could, if I was making the videos at night, I could show you, I mean, some nice beets, and, it's nice, it's good stuff. It's working. Tomatoes soon. So, yeah, but everything's, the drought is slowing everything down now, so it's a little bit irritating. But, I have to get over that. I have to pay for water here, so you got to be a little careful with it. Blah, blah, blah. Anyway, enough of a video. So, till the next time, like I said, there's lots of ways for this message. It has to be, it has to be, the movie version has to be made. Different things have to happen. And little pieces of that has happened. Okay, there's been little pieces of, whatever that True Detective thing, little pieces of it getting out there. And it just needs something, and these little bigger pieces. And so eventually the bigger and bigger pieces will be presented, and more brains will be exposed to the simple logic of recognizing that this isn't for free. And it isn't, if you really think about what happens on this planet day in and day out, this is not profitable. The blood footprint is really bloody and full. Okay, it's insanely expensive. The little silly happy thoughts you have are insanely expensive. And that simple message, I think a logical person, a decent person, just can't evade it. Can't say that, I would impose all of the things that are not going to have a good day when I'm having a good day, that I would do it again. I would force them to again suffer and be tortured so I could have my good day. I don't think most of you are that creepy. I don't think most humans are that creepy. But I've been wrong. So, maybe they are, sadly. Okay, that's enough of a video. So, till the next time and such, when I will try to do better, and that's all I can do. It's make my best effort, blah 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 blah, and such, and so forth and whatnot.